So hello everybody. Hopefully you enjoyed your break and you're back at your desk now. And that's how it is with Zoom life. Our speaker here today is Shafiq Jadavji. He is the president of the Johns Creek Cricket Association. That's why we were talking about cricket, and maybe in the chat if you want to say something if you're a cricket fan. He's also a part of the Leadership Johns Creek Alumni, the adult program of Student Leadership Johns Creek. And he also serves as a board member for the Johns Creek Arts Center. And last but not least, he's the founder and CEO of 60 Financial. So I'll take it over to you.
Great. Thank you, Anastasia. Appreciate the opportunity to speak to everyone. Hope everyone has been enjoying the Dogs victory that we had last night. Certainly a long overdue championship, and it's been amazing. We were just talking, it's been amazing season for sports in Atlanta. The Braves won, the Dogs won. So it looks like the city has arrived, because I'm a believer that you do need to have some championships under your belt to be recognized across the country. So Atlanta is a great city, and now we are also a championship city. So, but thank you once again for giving me the opportunity. As Anastasia gave some background on me, let me give you some more background, and let me set the stage as to what I want to accomplish. And this is an opportunity for me to really share some thoughts. And I want to say thank you in advance for that. I want to give you some background on Shafiq. Who is Shafiq? Anastasia mentioned about some of my civic engagement activities. And then I also want to just talk about the presentation that I will do. And the purpose of this presentation is not to give you a book smart lesson, all right? The purpose is really to share my thoughts, some of the experiences that I've had, some of the learnings that I've had as an individual, as a family member, as a leader in different organizations, and more importantly, to leave you with some thoughts, right? Because all of you are bright individuals. You have a wonderful future ahead of you. You will make things happen, not only for yourself, for your families, for your community, but for the country and humanity at large. So I'm confident that you will make a difference in your life. And then more importantly, you will enjoy your journey as an individual. So just to give you some background on Shafiq, I was born in Africa in a country called Tanzania, which is part of East Africa. South of Tanzania is south of Kenya, next to Uganda. So that's where the safari and Kilimanjaro and all those activities happen. The Serengeti, so Serengeti is part of Tanzania. Mount Kilimanjaro is part of Tanzania. So I was born there. My family moved there in the 1800s, and we were there till 1972. And then we moved because there was some political situation that happened in East Africa that forced people to move out of that part of the continent into different parts of the world. Most of my family moved to Canada, some to England. My parents got on a ship and we ended up in Pakistan. So the sport of cricket learnings happened during my childhood years. So I spent from age 4 to 13 in Pakistan. And just like any other youth and in any country, you learn the sport. So I learned the sport during those years in New York from 1982 to 2011, during the phenomenal 80s that New York had in those years. And then at the same time, professionally, I worked for Deutsche Bank on Wall Street for a good 16 years in the capital markets. At the same, I did my undergrad from University of Buffalo and then my MBA from NYU, New York University Stern School of Business. And then we moved to Atlanta in Johns Creek in 2011. So I've been a resident of Johns Creek for the last 10 years. Wonderful city. And over the last many years, I've tried to become an engaged member of the community. I founded Johns Creek Cricket Association, which was some years ago. And when I started to talk about cricket in Johns Creek City Council and the staff, people like, what is cricket, right? And that was 7 years ago. Fortunately, when I walk in today, people know here comes Mr. Cricket. So we have come a long way in terms of embracing the sport, which is the second biggest sport, which is a tremendous, tremendous trajectory in this decade. The 2024 World Cup cricket has been hosted by the West Indies and USA. The 2028 Olympics in LA most likely will have cricket as a new sport. There is a Major League Cricket that's starting in 2023. There is minor league cricket that started last year. So our goal as Johns Creek Cricket Association is very simple. We want to develop the sport, create community engagement, and establish healthy lifestyle. So cricket has been one of my so-called passions in life as it relates to my activities, but there are a lot of other things that I also do. So let me get into, and I'm going to share my screen, and we will leave some time at the end for Q&A. And Anastasia, if you could facilitate that Q&A session towards the end, that would be fantastic. If people want to put their questions in the chat box or just unmute yourself, whatever works best for you. So let me start sharing my screen because I do have a presentation that I want to go over. And let me, can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay, fantastic. So again, the title of this presentation is PDL. And I'll leave it to you to try to figure out over the next 15 minutes or 20 minutes, what does PDL stands for? But we'll have an opportunity towards the end to give you my definition of PDL. But again, just be open-minded and be inquisitive. That's the only thing I would ask as part of this presentation. The agenda is as follows. This presentation is not about Shafiq, it's not about Anastasia, it's not about Irene. It's about all of us, all right? It's about you. It's about your journey as an individual, as a leader, as a person who will define your own life, right? So as far as the agenda is concerned, I'm going to share some thoughts about, what do I mean by explore life? In terms of finding your it, that it is important for us to live a fulfilling life. And I'm hopeful that all of us will find our it sooner than later. And then more importantly, the element of time. Time is not infinite, it is finite. So we hope that all of us allow time to guide us, to be able to use time effectively, and then more importantly, be a beneficiary of what time can do for us. So as far as explore life is concerned, I want to share some thoughts on this, because I think this is probably the most important thing that we can do as human beings for ourselves. So the first and foremost thing is remain a student of life. You are a student in high school right now. In the coming months, coming years, you will graduate and you will transition into your college life, which is wonderful, right? But just keep one thing in mind. Being a book smart individual is one thing. Being a student of life, it doesn't matter whether that learning happens from a particular book that you are reading, a particular teacher. It could be any experience. It could be through nature. It could be through the environment that you are in. It could be through someone who you may have never met, but you had the opportunity to just interact with for 15 minutes, right? So always keep your mind open, always keep your heart open, because that will allow you to be a lifelong learner. Don't, this image that is described on this particular slide, to me, experiences are more important than the things we possess, because there will be a time in our lives when none of the material things will matter. The only thing that we will have will be our memories. And the memories that we will have will be based on the experiences that we create. So try to create experiences for yourself rather than creating, items that you can display on a wall saying, hey, this is my accomplishment and this is what I have done. Your experiences will remain unique to yourself, and that will create more joy than having the awards on the wall and other kind of trophies that you may accomplish during your lifetime. Secondly, embrace your failures. I have failed more times than I've succeeded, right? And to me, I call it a good thing, because what that does to me as an individual is I'm not afraid of failures. I'm not afraid to try something new. I'm not afraid to look at things differently. Most of the times, success happens by just showing up. And showing up is the most important thing in life. Not just physically showing up, but mentally showing up and emotionally showing up for yourself. Because you don't owe anything to anyone in life. You just owe it to yourself. So when you say, hey, I want to get fit, I want to be physically fit, you don't need to show your physical fitness to others. You need to, show up for yourself. If that means, hey, waking up 5 o'clock in the morning and going for a run for 20 minutes before you get ready for school, so be it. But you have to show up for yourself. But don't be afraid of failure as to how people will look at you, how people will think of you. Someone has said that if you want to see, when you go to a cemetery, right, you see all these tombstones and people who have died and their bodies buried there. But most of them have left their dreams behind because they were just too afraid of trying new things. Your plan in your mind may be a straight line, but the reality is going to be very, very different. I promise you. All right. And that's okay. If that reality means you have to go through ups and downs and all those different things, that is fine. It will make you stronger. It will make you wiser. So don't be afraid to fail. Get into situations where you are able to try new things. Be a good friend. What I mean by that is, you are all young, and I consider myself young too. I'll be turning 25 for the 30th time this year. So therefore, young at heart means a lot to me, but you are also young at age. You will have opportunities to build friendships in life. Take that seriously. You will be fortunate in your life that you are surrounded by people who care for you, not only in good days, but when things are difficult. Friends who are going to tell Shafiq, you are full of it, right? You need to get up, smell the coffee, and get back on the plan. You don't want yes man or yes woman kind of answers from your friends. You want genuine answers, because true friendships are about individuals who are there for each one thing. You can hurt a lot of people, including your friends. Before you open your mouth, think twice. Just because things did not work out the way you wanted it and your friends were involved in the scenario, doesn't mean that they did not have good intentions for you. But sometimes things just don't work out. Things happen in life. But be careful how you use your language, how you use your verbiage, because sometimes you may emotionally hurt someone. And don't make it a habit of it, because there are those who are good friends to you. They will remain lifelong friends, and they will tell you the way it is, whether you like it or not, right? So always keep one thing in mind, that good friendships, wherever they are, I'm fortunate that over the years, based on the activities I'm involved in, not just in sports, but other activities, the biggest gift that people have given me over the years is the opportunity to call them and having them pick up my call. Doesn't matter where they live, whether they live in USA, they live out of USA, but the fact that they are willing to pick up my call, and I might not have spoken to them for 5 years, that's a blessing. That's something that I really, really cherish, because I've been able to build those good friendships. This one, I think, is the magic formula of life, which is train your mind, trick your mind. What I mean by tricking your mind is, we see life through our two eyes. We have senses, the 5 senses that allow us to smell, taste, hear, see. But at the end of the day, all those senses allow our brain to think. Sometimes the environment is not the best environment. The senses will tell us it is not a positive environment. But during those non so positive environments or times, we have to figure it out how to trick our mind, right? And there is no better way of doing that than taking some time during the day to visualize. Think about things that you want to create. Think about the environment you want to create. Visualization is one of the biggest success ingredients for athletes, for leaders, for individuals who go into scenarios that are not really friendly scenarios, but then figure out a way to make it fun and exciting. An athlete, generally speaking, visualizes the outcomes, different outcomes, right? So when they actually are encountering that scenario, that tough situation where you're playing a football game, you are down 14 points, there are only 2 minutes left, right? Joe Montana was one of the finer quarterbacks who figured out how to use the 2-minute clock in the 90s for the San Francisco 49ers, because he visualized him scoring 2 touchdowns. So whatever you do, trick your mind to visualize things that you want to see happen, and let your actions execute that vision, because that is what's going to make things happen. It's not just the life around us, it's how we think about the life around us. As they say, half glass is half full or half empty. It's all based on the individual who is looking at it. But this is one of those things that will make you successful over the long term. Form good hobbies, right? You are young, you are energetic, and I hope and pray you will always remain young and always remain energetic. You don't need to be master of all trades, but you do need to figure out how to make a good living, right? How to take care of your health, your mind, how to continue to establish yourself where you are always learning. You are always absorbing knowledge. And being creative, I think everyone is creative. I think all of us are given the gift of being creative. Some of you are creative just being part of Student Leadership Johns Creek. You do all these projects, you figure out things, right? You're doing this Zoom thing because the environment is such that it's not allowing us to do in-person thing. But all of us are creative. Creativity doesn't mean you have to be an artist. Creativity means is using your God-given gift and figuring it out. And figuring it out in a manner that satisfies you. But you do need to figure out how you're going to make money, right? Because you do need to take care of yourself, your family, and have some money available so you can help humanity as well, right? But don't try to be master of all trades. whatever that you feel are things that you want to build on, make it a hobby for yourself. Because if you make it a hobby, you will stay doing those things. And they say that if you do things repeatedly, sooner or later, you become good at it, assuming the fact that you're following the right, steps. So if you are a golfer and you have a bad swing and you continuously practice bad swing, guess what? You're going to be very good at hitting bad swings, right? But that's not good. So fundamentally figure out, by taking advice from people, learning for yourself, how do I form good habits or good hobbies? And then master the art of repetition, continuously doing it, where it becomes second nature for you. Because when we get up in the morning, why is it that we brush our teeth in the morning, right? Nowhere in the book it's written that you must brush your teeth in the morning, but we have become habitual of doing that, right? We have become habitual of taking showers certain times of the day. It becomes a habit, it becomes second nature. So just like that, form hobbies that become second nature, because when it becomes second nature, it'll be fun and exciting process for you. It is not going to be a chore for you. You could be as smart as you can be, but there is something called emotional intelligence, which is listening to your heart and listening to your soul. If you do believe that you've been given this soul and this unique heart to feel things and to feel it differently than Shafiq or anyone else on this particular Zoom call, then take advantage of it, right? In today's environment, social media has helped us and has hurt us. Has helped us because it has made it, it's created a connected world for us. It has hurt us because we are judging ourselves based on how people are posting their post or how people are living their lives, right? And there's a lot of bullying that is happening in electronic media, in person. But my ask would be, if it's wrong and you know it, don't stay quiet, right? Step up, do things, right? But then more importantly, you will come to crossroads in your life many, many times. You'll come to T intersections where you will have to make either a right turn or a left turn. It is going to be your heart and your soul that will guide you. But you have to listen to it, right? Gut feelings are gut feelings. Yes, you will not always be right. I have followed my gut feelings majority of the times, and many of the times I've been wrong. A majority of the times I've been right. I have failed a lot in life. Majority of the times I have failed. But as far as my gut feeling is concerned, it has helped me to be right many of times. And I would say it has been a blessing for me to trust my guts and make certain decisions, which has helped me make the right turn at that intersection. So at the end of the day, listen to your heart. Like the song goes, listen to your heart, make good judgment calls. Don't get bogged down with how reality is presented to you all the time. Lastly, learn to love, live, and laugh. I think in today's environment, we take sides, which is okay. We can have differences, but don't take sides in loving people, in laughing with people. That, hey, someone is of a different political affiliation, I cannot, have a conversation and laugh with them because they are of a different political affiliation. Or someone is, playing against me in a sport or in a competition, that I cannot have laughter with them. Everyone's journey will take us to different places, but be open to love, to live and laugh. If we don't live our life, time will go by. And when that does, unfortunately, it is not going to come back. So these are some of the things that I believe in my life have helped me explore life to make me who I am today. And I hope and pray that I can continue to do all of these things as I learn to grow up and enjoy life. Find your it. That it is extremely, extremely important. My it is, I am absolutely a passionate person. I don't take no for an answer. If I believe in something, I will, I'll use my example for cricket in Johns Creek 7 years ago. When I started this conversation, people like, what is cricket and why should we be doing cricket? It took 7 years for me to influence people. And it's not that they were wrong and saying, hey, we don't understand this, because they just didn't understand it. But when you are passionate about something, I believe the journey becomes a little easier. So find out what is it that drives you, all right? All of us are given a universal gift and gifts, I would say, right? The only way you will find out what your universal gift is to get out of your comfort zone. If you stay in your comfort zone, if you put on your right shoe first every single day, and you never try to put on your left shoe first, you're not going to explore life. You're not going to give yourself the opportunity to learn about yourself. My experience, my best experiences, so I'll give you even my college days. I have always been a finance major, from undergrad to MBA and all that. Worked on Wall Street and all that. But my best classes were non-finance classes. So during my undergrad years, I was crazy about Shakespeare. I was absolutely crazy about Shakespeare. I could read his sonnets, his plays, and actually understand it. All right. I used to go to Shakespeare in the Park, wherever I was, right? But that brought joy to me. Philosophy was another subject. And I remember I took, philosophy 101 and then I guess the next course of philosophy. And one day my philosophy professor called me in his office. I'm like, okay, what is he going to talk about? Did I do anything wrong? And he calls me, Shafiq, you have a very different mindset. And I think you should major in philosophy. And I'm saying to myself, what the hell am I going to do with philosophy as a major, right? But one thing I learned is liberal arts courses are going to allow you to get out of your comfort zone. So as you start your collegiate process, yes, you have to become specialists and all that. You have to find your it, but don't underestimate the value of liberal arts. It is going to help you get out of your comfort zone. And it is going to help your ability. No one is with yourself unless you trick your mind to saying to yourself that, yes, I believe I can get this thing done, right? And when you find it, some people are fortunate to find it early in their life. Some people take years to find it. But when you do find it, cherish it. Don't underestimate what you have just found for yourself, because it is going to be the glue in your life. It is going to be the laughter. It is going to be the joy. It is going to bring a lot of things when you find your it, right? And then more importantly, once you have found it, don't just use it for yourself. Meaning, hey, once you become good good at something. People become good at something because they have found their it and they have done it repeatedly. They have failed in the process, but in the process, they have, they have made black blood for themselves and thick skin where nothing can, touch them. But in the process, they have also learned to serve humanity through that it. So whatever your it turns out to be, don't just keep it to yourself. Absolutely cherish it, but use it to help your family, use it to help your friends, use it to help the strangers, use it to help your community, but learn to serve humanity, because that is going to be the biggest, I would say, honor that you would give to your it. The element of time, you all know, is finite, right? We have an opportunity to use our time the way we want it. No one's going to tell us how to use our time. All of us are given 24 hours a clock. There is a thing called youth versus experience, right? When you are young, and again, not just young in age, but young at heart. But when I talk about youth, I'm referring to age here. When you are young, you may not have had the experiences in life, and that's okay. But don't wait to get to a certain age to create those experiences, right? No one stops you. You became part of Student Leadership Johns Creek, and I'm so happy that you have become part of this 2-year program, because I know what Leadership Johns Creek has done for me. I was a student of Leadership Johns Creek in 2016. I mentored a team in 2017, and over the years, I have remained engaged with Student Leadership Johns Creek. But you took the opportunity to become part of this Student Leadership Johns Creek and create experience for yourself. So when it comes to managing your time or using your time effectively, don't let your age dictate what kind of experiences can you have. Age is not a determining factor. Yes, you cannot compete in the Olympics if you're 11-year-old, but there are some guidelines set for that, but there you will get your time as an Olympian. But if there are no guidelines or there are no restrictions, then don't let age deprive you of experience creating opportunities. Respect your time, respect your friends' times, respect other people's time. Those who know Shafiq know that if you really want to annoy Shafiq, show up late, right? Because to me is, if we do not have respect for that one thing that all of us follow, we are unique individuals. But guess what? When it's 10 o'clock East Coast time, it is 10 o'clock on everyone's watch, not just on Shafiq's watch. So use time, respect time, learn to give your time. Someone told me many years ago that if you think about our lives, there are a lot of things we control. We can control what kind of education we're going to have, what kind of wealth we're going to create for ourselves. But the time is one thing that we have no control over. No one can guarantee, none of us on this call can guarantee that they will be alive tomorrow. Time is never ours, because how can we call it ours if we cannot control it? So if time is not ours and you're giving your time to someone or to society or to humanity, you're not giving something that you own, because you never owned it to begin with. So learn to give your time, because you don't own it. You are just using the opportunity to share something that is given to you temporarily, because it's not yours. You don't know when it's going to end. As I said, I'll be celebrating my 25th birthday for the 30th time this year. I don't think I'm old to do anything, right? And I hope that I remain thinking that way. For you, you're not young to do anything either. Because yes, you may be chronologically, age-wise, you may be young, but don't let that stop you from doing things that you want to do in life. I'm your best friend. And the reason why I say that is if you have respect for time, not just for yourself, but respect for time for others, meaning when someone says, hey, we're going to meet at a certain time, you show up 5 minutes early. Because if you show up at that 10 o'clock, guess what? You're not doing anyone a favor. You're supposed to show up at 10 o'clock. Give yourself the opportunity to make time your best friend so that you can respect that time, you can use that time effectively, and let that time create experiences for you in your life so that it becomes a journey for you where the evolution of time does not dictate how you're going to live your life. Whether you're young, you're middle-aged, you're old, you are in your 80s and 90s, and you have your 1 foot in the grave, doesn't matter. While you are still have that borrowed time, make use of it and make it your best friend. So this comes down to what is PDL? I started this conversation saying the presentation is called PDL. So here is Shafiq's definition of PDL. So PDL to me is a purpose-driven life. And it's something that we all will have an opportunity to create for ourselves. It will offer us the opportunity, I believe, to appreciate nature and people around us. I believe it will provide joy in our life and the passion to serve humanity. And one thing it will also do, which I believe is going to be the most important thing, it will allow us to be unique, to be ambitious, and allow the universal energy to guide us. So this is Shafiq's definition of PDL. I have tried my best to live by this definition. Whatever I do, the first thing I want to understand is, why am I doing it? I have learned to say no in life. Many, many times I've said no to opportunities because I just didn't see the purpose behind it. Yes, it was great. It would have given me accolades and all these different things and all that. But I learned to say no. And I think if you can learn to say no and say no more times, then yes, you will be more selective in your life, and you'll be selective in regards to how you want to live your purpose-driven life. As an athlete, I always tell my players, I still play cricket, I organize cricket, I lead teams, be passionate, remain humble, and always stay hungry. If you are not hungry in life, nothing is going to make sense to you, because it is only those who are hungry and can accept failure as a stepping stone, but they get up in the morning and they remain hungry. Those are the ones who make things happen. Those are people who create change in life, not just for themselves, but also for others. Before we go to a Q&A, I want to share a couple of videos with you. I believe videos will help in what I was talking about, and then more importantly, reinforce what others have done. So I have 2 videos to show, and I'm going to show segments of these videos, and I hope that you will enjoy these videos. These are short videos, but particularly I'm going to show segments of these videos so that it becomes more meaningful. So just bear with me.
The number one lesson I could offer you where your work is concerned is this: become so skilled, so vigilant, so flat out fantastic at what you do that your talent cannot be dismissed. home and the way to make movies is to do stuff that you love, because, you know, for 25 years, I worked on the Oprah show, and Stephen will tell you that there were nights that I came home and I almost, you know, it's hard to even like take off my clothes because I knew I was going to be getting up 4 hours later. But I never really felt exhausted, like I felt exhausted, but I never felt depleted. So do the work that comes straight from the soul of you, from your background, from stories that you've grown up with, from stories that bring you passion, from stories that you not just yearn to tell, but that if you don't tell them, they won't get told. And when you are operating, you know, the single greatest wisdom I think I've ever received, other than when people show you who they are, is that the key to fulfillment, success, happiness, contentment in life is when you align your personality with what your soul actually came to do. I believe everybody has a soul and has, you know, their own personal spiritual energy. So when you can use your personality to serve whatever that thing is, you can't help but be successful. So if you do films that come from the interior of your soul, you do work, you do art that comes from the interior of you, you cannot miss. It's only when you're doing stuff that you think might make money, you think it may be a hit, or you think it may bring you some level of attention or success. That isn't what does it. I would have to say that all of the great, wonderful experiences of my life that have brought me to this moment have come from working from the interior of myself. And so that's why it feels so authentic, because it actually is. So when you do that, you win. And
Here's a second video I want to show you. I'm going to show a couple of sections of this video, so just bear with me. I'm gonna...
When I was 17, I read a quote that went something like, "If you live each day as if it was your last, someday you'll most certainly be right." It made an impression on me. And since then, for the past 33 years, I've looked in the mirror every morning and asked myself, if today were the last day of my life, would I want to do what I am about to do today? And whenever the answer has been no, for too many days in a row, I know I need to change something. Remembering that I'll be dead soon is the most important tool I've ever encountered to help me make the big choices in life. Because almost everything, all external expectations, all pride, all fear of embarrassment or failure, these things just fall away in the face of death, leaving only what is truly important. Remembering that you are going to die is the best way I know to avoid the trap of thinking you have something to lose. You are already naked. There is no reason not to follow your heart. No one wants to die. Even people who want to go to heaven don't want to die to get there. And yet, death is the destination because change agent. It clears out the old to make way for the new. Right now, the new is you. But someday, not too long from now, you will gradually become the old and be cleared away. Sorry to be so dramatic, but it's quite true. Your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life. Don't be trapped by dogma, which is living with the results of other people's thinking. Don't let the noise of others' opinions drown out your own inner voice. And most important, have the courage to follow your heart and intuition. They somehow already know what you truly want to become. Everything else is secondary. So
most of us know Oprah Winfrey and Steve Jobs. It's interesting to read their biography and understand what they have done in life. And most of us are familiar with probably Steve Jobs more so because what he was able to create with technology products and industries that he changed. So I just wanted to share those videos. No, we're not unique in our passion for life. Our passion for life is shared by many other people around the world who have been there, done that. And I think it's always good to learn from people. And today my goal was very simple. My goal was to share my personal experiences with you. Hopefully set it up in a manner so that you could enjoy your personal experiences in life. And then more importantly, be passionate, remain humble, and always stay hungry. So thank you for the opportunity. We can certainly, Anastasia, if you want, we can open it up for Q&A. You tell me how would you like to do this, and we can certainly take some questions.
Definitely. Thank you so much for talking to us, for all your wise advice. The videos were very interesting. I was not expecting videos. So we are very grateful to have you. And if all of the ambassadors could really quickly just turn their camera on, and Tara is going to take a screenshot while we talk. But in the meantime, anyone open, the floor is open for questions. You can unmute, turn your video on. I'm also looking at the chat if you don't want to do that. So whatever you feel comfortable, just shoot some questions out.
I guess if there are no questions, sounds like either I put you to sleep or you have figured out your magic formula,
If there are no questions yet, we'll give them a moment maybe to think of them, because this was a very insightful presentation.
And you are free to ask any questions, right? So there's one thing I've learned in life is I'm an open book. You can ask me any questions, and I would love to share whatever questions you have. And so don't be shy in asking your questions about what I just talked about, or what you know about Shafiq thus far, based on what I have said about my background and others have said. Ask any questions, and I will try my best to answer those questions.
Gabby, do you have a question? Okay. So I have like a list of questions if nobody has any questions yet. So how exactly did you come up with the idea or concept of PDL, maybe? Because it's a very dense one. You had a lot to share with us. So how did you come up with that concise last slide for us?
I think it came naturally because over the years, as I said, I have failed a lot in life. And when I look back to the experiences that I've had, the areas where I have failed, I realized that the why piece was missing, right? Or it was missing temporarily, or I did not focus on the why piece. So, as you mentioned, Anastasia, I run 60 financial practice, which is advisory practice. And even in my profession, this PDL gets integrated. So what I do in my financial practice to live a purpose and meaning, hey, yes, you want to be successful, but why are you doing certain actions? If you're investing in the stock market or you're planning for your retirement, why are you doing it? So I think this PDL came through years of experience. It wasn't something that I just one day got up and said, hey, you know what? I have a magic formula that I want to live by. It just came through lifelong experiences.
That is a great answer. Thank you so much. And so you said it took a lot of time, and it's a concept of life. What are 3 words you would use to describe someone who lives through PDL? Maybe describe yourself or someone else you know that lives through PDL. with 3 words?
I would say truthful. When I say truthful, truthful to oneself. Ambitious. Ambitious because not everything you're going to do is going to lead to the end result, right? But you have to be ambitious enough to be able to follow your passions, to continue to take rejections, and still stay on the path. And being humble, right? You are not God's gift to mankind, I will tell you. I am not God's gift to mankind. I've been just given certain opportunities to learn about myself. You know, sometimes we take, I'll give you an example, sometimes we take education as an opportunity to create things. Personally, I don't believe education creates anything. I think education just empowers us and gives us the tool to learn what's already out there. So the nature around us is much bigger. Life is much bigger. Anything we do is much bigger than us as an individual. And the only time we will realize it is we need to be grounded. We cannot just, you know, think we are it. So remaining humble will allow you to make good friendships, because sooner or later people are going to see through you, and people will know that you are an arrogant person. All you care about is for yourself, your accomplishments. So I think being humble will help you build those friendships and those relationships.
That's a nice summary of your presentation as well. Those were great 3 words. And our audience here is mostly juniors and seniors. I don't think any sophomores stuck around from the financial portion of the presentation. So what advice would you give a high school student, a junior or senior, who is having a hard time bouncing back after a failure, whether it's personal, academic, sports, any kind of failure?
Don't take it personally, right? When it's meant to happen for you, it will happen. Sometimes it takes time. I mean, we saw Georgia Bulldogs. It took 41 years to get that ring again, right? To get that championship again. But don't be harsh on yourself. Don't take it personally. If you do not succeed, it's not that you're not capable of, right? But do learn from some failures. Do learn from your failures, because if you do the same thing over and over again, that's foolish, right? But you need to embrace failure. You need to not take it personally, and then you need to have fun. Don't take life, you know, or anything in life too seriously. There is a place and time for everything, right? But again, learn to live, love, and laugh. You know, you get a bad grade, so what, right? It's okay. It's not the end of the world. I mean, you know, but do learn from it. That why did you get a bad grade? What did you do? Did you commit yourself? Did you put in the effort? All right. Do you need some help? Do you need some other mentors or other advice? So you know, you will fail. I fail every day in one way or another. But if you can learn to not take it personally, it's not that you cannot do things. It's not meant for you as a person, as an individual. Move on. Don't create your experiences, but learn to move on. Accept it. And
definitely. And I have just 3 more questions, and the chat is still open for everybody. The first question of the last 3, who is your role model and why?
You know, I was watching a video, Matthew McConaughey, who is an actor, right? I think you should watch, if you have a chance, you can Google the video that is there when he accepted his Oscar, right? And he answered this question very succinctly, right? For me, I look at everyone around me as an opportunity to model. I don't have one individual that I could say, okay, these are my role models. Yes, in sports, you have different athletes. Wayne Gretzky, right? He was not the tallest, he was not the strongest, but he became the best hockey player. And someone asked him, how you're not the strongest, you're not the quickest, you're not the fastest. How did you become such a good player? And his simple answer was, I anticipated where the puck is going to be, right? So the reason why I don't have one single person, I do have, I belong to a faith that has a living leader. It's called His Highness Kareem Aga Khan. And I've been blessed to learn from his lifelong experiences, which is how to help humanity. So if I was to call one role model, I would say it would be him. But generally speaking, I look at the opportunity to learn every day, because everyone is something to show us, to teach us, and everyone has a good heart. Sometimes it just takes a little longer for that good heart to come out. But yes, all of us need to have people around us that we can look up to or look towards to say, hey, this person is doing something good. So if all of us can surround ourselves with some good people, that'll be the best thing.
Thank you for that. And I believe Ms. Sanders put the YouTube video link that you mentioned about the Oscar. So if you guys want to check it out after the program, that you can. And my next question is, do you have a favorite quote that you have not yet shared with us?
Oh boy. So you see, I have a calendar that has quotes every day, right? So I do read. So on my free time, I don't like to waste time, right? I love cricket as a sport, but if you were to ask me, who is playing who right now in the world, I have no clue. I don't watch sports, generally speaking. I will watch, the big games. You have the championship games and all that. What I do is I try to watch some movies, right? And especially movies that are based on true stories, YouTube videos, right? I do believe that I don't have a favorite quote, but I like to have calendars like these to be able to read quotes every day to at least inspire me. And I think it's a good thing to do. But I unfortunately, my favorite quote is the one that I created, which is be passionate, remain humble, and always stay hungry.
That's a good quote. And for our last question to close off, as a member of Leadership Johns Creek alumni, what is your advice for the soon to be graduating class of Student Leadership Johns Creek?
I think Student Leadership Johns Creek has given you the tools to equip yourself for your next stage in life. All right. The experiences that you have had with the Student Leadership Johns Creek program for the 2 years, make something out of it, right? People have invested their time and effort. Remain in touch with each other, right? Because life is one of those things that we go our own merry ways, and students will go to different colleges and all that. But in the old days, it was difficult to stay connected. You actually had to put in money in a phone to call someone from a public phone, right? I mean, with a connected world, with the device, smart devices, you have the opportunity to stay connected. Stay connected in a good way, not just in a social media way, but stay connected. Make time to learn about where you are, each of you, what you are doing. I recently had the opportunity to work with someone that I went to school with in 1990. All right. So that is what, about 31 years now. And what made me realize that it's unfortunate that I didn't stay in touch with a lot of people because, life gets busy. So my only advice to you all is you are all bright individuals. You all have wonderful experiences. The program and Irene and others have done a phenomenal job investing in you. But stay connected. When you go to college, just don't be a book smart student, right? Get involved, take leadership positions. You've been equipped with all this leadership skills and all that. Make a difference, all right? Whether it becomes part of the sorority, or fraternity or sports club or student association, whatever you do, get involved, continue this journey that you have started, and have fun. Don't take life too seriously. You will have a great experience if you stay connected with people that you care for and you want to learn from each other. And then more importantly, just go and make new friends and explore your next step in life, and appreciate what you have been equipped with, which are the skills that you are walking away with.
Thank you for that, and thank you so much for your time. And as Miss Sanders says in the chat, be curious. And I'm gonna hand it over to her now.
So thank you so much, Shafiq, for speaking to the kids. I wish it could have been in person, but I think it was great. So, and if any of you guys want to connect with him on LinkedIn or anything, because now that you all have a LinkedIn, here you go. But thank you so much. And is it okay if I share your presentation?
Sure. What I'll do is I'll send you
Send me the new one.
I'll send you the new one with the video clips in there. But yes, absolutely. It has my contact details on the last page. Please stay in touch. If there's anything I could do, it will be my honor to get to know you in the coming days. So please feel free to reach out. And again, be curious and go and hit sixes. Someone is hitting a lot of sixes in cricket, so continue doing that. So, but thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for the opportunity to share some thoughts and having this dialogue. So thank you.
Thank you so much again. You're a dear friend.
Thank you.
Okay.